It's a big, noisy universe of stocks out there. Welcome to Goodbye or Goodbye. Our goal to help cut through that noise to navigate the best moves for your portfolio. We're looking again at the GLP-1 trade, but we're taking a little bit of a different tack. Beyond the pharma giants dominating the space, what's the best way to play it now? I'm here with Matt Higgins, RSC Ventures CEO and co-founder and returning Goodbye or Goodbye champion. So let's
champion. I didn't get the prize.
Everybody who comes back is a champion.
That. All right, let's do it.
So let's do it. Let's talk. I mean, we know the big ones, right? We know the Novos and the Eli Lillys. Let's talk about Viking Therapeutics, which is your goodbye here. The stock is already up a little bit of a 250% year to date. So there is some money coming into this name. But talk to me about why you think that this is a good prospect for their GLP-1.
Yeah, this is a remarkable company. We all know what Eli Lilly and what Novartis has done, but it's a massive TAM. It's a $150 billion market, and this is a biotechnology firm, probably like 30 people, and they are onto something pretty amazing. They're working on two products. One is a shot that you would take once a month, and the other is a pill, which is the holy grail, and early studies show that it's being very well tolerated.
Now, some of the big guys are working on that stuff also. Is it just that you think the science behind this one is, and the studies are particularly encouraging?
Yeah, they're actually very encouraging. So they're meeting with the FDA later in the year to accelerate towards a phase 3, but the early data that they have released shows a high degree of tolerability, and if you're able to reduce it to once a month and a pill, that'll dramatically increase the number of people that are using it. So all the early science is very, very promising.
And of course, if the big pharma guys can't develop them themselves, maybe they can buy it.
Time to go on a shopping spree. So that's the bottom line. There are multiple ways for Viking to win. I mean, the thing is, right now it's a $7 billion market cap company. Your Eli Lilly is on its way to a $1 trillion company fueled by Mounjaro and Zepbound. So to be able to acquire this company, I think, I'm going to put it out there, for $15 billion is relatively nothing considering the opportunity. So it's a prime acquisition target, but you don't only have to win that way. There's a catalyst coming up.
Let's talk about that catalyst in November. What's happening in November?
So there is a big conference around obesity that takes place in November in Texas. I think it's November 5th. Last year at that same conference, they released early stage data. There's a lot of speculation. They're going to update this early results to show how the tolerability is going around the pill and around the shot. So that is a catalyst that I believe the stock will continue to drift up towards that event.
Interesting. All right, so let's talk about what could go wrong potentially. It could take a long time. I mean, it does sometimes take a long time for this stuff to get to market.
Something like 50% of phase 3 trials fail. So we could all wake up one day and I could lose all my money. There's that. It takes a long time to commercialize. It takes billions of dollars to be able to manufacture it. I think this is like 30 people, 7 PhDs. So it's going to be hard for them to commercialize. However, they could go ahead and partner with any of the number of the big players, Merck, Pfizer, who don't have a drug right now.
One other question too is, since the stock has already had a lot of upside this year, I mean, yes, you've talked about the potential for big stuff here, but how much of that is priced in with that, more than doubling?
I don't think it's priced in at all. I have a tremendous amount of my personal money in it. I don't think it's priced in at all. The consensus targets range anywhere from 75 to 130. There's a lot of whispering around what that takeout number is, around 120, 130 a share. I don't know how people come up with this, but I don't believe it's priced in at all. I think it's still relatively early.
All right, so let's get the flip side of this, and it is Dexcom. The share's already down year to date, I think about 25, more like 40% or so, excuse me. Dexcom plays in the diabetes space. And we have seen this sort of inversion of the other side of the GLP-1 trade, is that a lot of these diabetes-related companies have gotten hit.
Yeah, we're in a fascinating cycle where they get hit and then they come back again. Medtronic, some of the other ones, sleep apnea. So what do they do? They do continuous glucose monitors. Anybody who doesn't know, you put it in your arm, it measures your blood sugar level. I've used it before, I've invested in them. Here's the thing though, there was a study that came out last week from Eli Lilly that showed Zepbound reduces the prevalence of diabetes over a 3-year study of 94%. Like, we might be in a world where we are eliminating type 2 diabetes, and that is very bad news for Dexcom because its revenue is entirely concentrated on these continuous glucose monitors.
Is there other stuff that they can do with the same technology?
I don't think so. So in their last earnings report, the stock got pummeled because they came out and they said 50,000 customers didn't materialize. Now, they had said in their earnings call, it's because we restructured our approach to sales, and that's why they didn't show up. It has nothing to do with GLP-1. That's what all the snack purveyors say. Our numbers have nothing to do with GLP-1. We're still in that phase. I think they're way too centralized to pivot. Most importantly, they're valued at 43 times future earnings. The market projects 20% growth in revenue. I don't see where that's going to come from.
And that's an interesting comment you just made too. Whether you're talking about Dexcom or the food business, do you think a lot of them are sort of in denial about the impact of GLP-1s?
They are in denial because I know I'm in denial. I own a lot of food businesses and we're like, we're going to be fine. Sugar is all the rage. So the truth is I'm dealing with it. And when you're in a business and it's not possible for you to make a hard pivot, you rationalize and justify. I've seen it at board meetings all across America for the last 2 years. But this company in particular is especially vulnerable.
Okay, let's talk about the last point here. Organizational disarray. Is that why they're also especially vulnerable?
I just think when something doesn't pass the smell test and you're basically saying you made a simple change in how you handled your sales, I won't get into the sales channel strategy, something doesn't add up. And that's what their explanation was for their last report around why 50,000 customers didn't materialize. Now we see this report from Mounjaro and Zepbound, and you realize, oh, this must be early warning signs of people saying, I don't need the continuous glucose monitor because I'm feeling better. I used it myself when I was heavier, and I would never put it on again.
Huh, interesting.
Yep.
All right, well, let's talk about what could go right. There is that drop in the shares already. And the other thing I guess I would ask, Matt, is, how long is it going to take for there to be really this big mass penetration of the GLP-1s to have a big effect? I mean, isn't this going to take a while?
That's a great question. And I always say you want to make sure your thesis is investable or it's not going to take too long. This is different. We're seeing all the direct-to-consumer companies now trying to use a loophole with compounding to go direct-to-consumer at lower prices.
Right. It
is becoming pervasive. Everybody has a Ozempic face, right? Like we're talking about. I don't think this is going to take too long. I also don't think it's priced in because the multiple is 43 times and the S&P typically historically trades at 18 times.
Right.
I don't think this is going to take a long time at all to play out.
Matt.
Could be wrong, but I think it's goodbye.
But you're putting your money where your mouth is
I
in this
am.
case. And are you short this
I am
stuff?
short this through puts, and I am long, long, long Viking.
Okay, Matt, great to see you. Really interesting stuff. We love talking about this story here.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
And thank you so much for watching Goodbye or Goodbye. We'll be bringing you new episodes 3 times a week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern.